Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about whether or not a round can just go off on its own. So the reason you may want to know this is especially if you are concealed carrying with a round in the chamber, and maybe it's in your holster and you're bending down, or there's kids running around your leg. If that round goes off on its own, that could be really bad. Have you ever seen them go off on their own? With the hundreds of millions and even billions of rounds of ammunition that are made every year, how many times has a round gone off on its own when it's sitting on the shelf? I don't think it's ever happened. And if you think about it, police officers carry with a round in the chamber all the time. So do the military. And their guns aren't just randomly going off on their own. Okay, for all of these tests, I'm not actually going to be testing the round in a firearm itself, just because that would be dangerous if it did go off on its own. I'm going to be testing the round just hanging out on its own. They are not lethal when they explode on their own, not in the barrel of a gun. Simply because when they're in a barrel, it directs all that energy straight forward through into the bullet. Whereas when it's just hanging out, the energy is allowed to expand in all directions, so it's not lethal. Okay, for this first test, I'm going to be using this stove. I didn't have a pot that lying around that was big enough that I wanted to put a live round in, so I put this mesh here, and I'm just going to put it in this plate, and then put it on there. We're going to close it up, and then we're just going to cook it till she goes off. So that'll be fun. I'm going to go stand back. So, yeah. There we go. So for the sheer fact it hasn't gone off yet, tells you that it's incredibly stable. That was exciting. Guys, I was looking everywhere for the projectile. I spent like 15 minutes looking for it, and it's right here. It looks beautiful still. I'm going to freaking reload that. Okay, guys, so here are the components that I found. Like I said, the bullet's in pretty good shape. The case is pretty beat up. It completely blew up, and then it also blew out the primer, and I have no clue where the primer is, and I'm not even going to try to find it. And then there's another piece of brass here that I found. So the answer is yes, a round will go off due to extreme heat, but I'm talking like 400 plus Fahrenheit. So even if you store a loaded firearm in your car in Phoenix, Arizona, and the inside of your car is 150 degrees Fahrenheit, it's not going to go off on its own. So to really show that this round isn't lethal when it just goes off on its own, again, don't do it next to your head, but so I mean, this is that plate. I mean, this is really thin metal. I could bend this with my hands, and like it's just it put some dents in there, some dents there, some dents there. Really nothing crazy. This other one, it barely even dented it over here. I mean, it really did almost nothing to this stuff. So I'm gonna place it under here. I'm gonna back up over it. Oh, I have no clue where that went. Okay. That round is right there, underneath that tire. Okay, and it's in great shape still. I'd shoot that. Okay, the next thing we're going to try doing, so we blew it up with heat, we ran over one. Now I'm going to smash it between this vise and this big thick piece of steel. So I'm going to be standing over here behind this steel with earplugs, safety glasses, all that. So if it does go off, I'll be fine. It will be noisy though, so we're going to see what happens. I'm not going to lie, this is a little intimidating. That thing is stinking smashed, and it's still not going off. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like. The thing is smashed. I mean, even the projectile's smashed a ton. This is the same factory round that this one was. So you can see how much that projectile is smashed in that casing.
The primer's also like sticking out just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, this thing is so smashed, and it didn't go off. It did not explode. So, I mean, that should go to say how stable regular ammunition is. It's way stable.
You can even like drop it, throw it around, whatever. I bet you I could throw this on the ground as hard as I could, and it would still not go off. I'm gonna try that out. Got a little beat up. Do it again. It's not going off. I mean, I'm throwing this hard enough on the ground to get it to bounce multiple feet.
Okay, guys, so here's all those things. So 400 degrees Fahrenheit will, run over by car, no, smash like crazy, no, and thrown on the ground as hard as I could onto concrete, no. So, honestly, ammunition is extremely stable, and carrying around in the chamber is completely safe as long as you're being safe, you have a proper holster, you have a good firearm, not one that you made yourself or anything like that, and it's completely safe. And oh, and by the way, for this one, I cracked my vise to do that. So you're welcome, guys.
Okay, guys, so carrying around in the chamber is completely safe. It's not going to go off on its own. If you guys have any other comments or questions, please put those in the comments below. Okay, guys, thanks for watching.